see all these convoluted answers that they give. It depends. That means the woman. And you guys have to see through this bullshit. What's up, guys? Welcome to my reaction series. So today, I actually have a new series where I am going to be reacting to my own street interviews and kind of tell you what was going through my mind when I did these interviews. If you want, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a Google form in the description so we can do events near you. So let's see. Churches preach against marrying non-virgin women?
Not necessarily. I mean, it is.
So the church preaches against marrying bad guys, right? I mean, you hear that all the time. Don't date a man that's going to use you. But they never talk about not dating women that are going to use you and ruin your life. And so the churches really have no protection for young men. Young men are targets, and they're going to, men that stay in the church are going to end up marrying old sleazebag whores. And the other thing too is that the young men, it's feminism in a way. Because if you look around, it's a bunch of sexless young men, a bunch of women that claim to be sexless while they're railing God knows who. So they want men to be in the pews. They want them to donate. They want them to volunteer a lot of times in exchange for nothing, which is exactly what feminists want, because they want women don't, feminism really is a strategy for women to not have to have sex with guys they're not attracted to.
It's always exalted as the ideal.
Right, but the men have to follow the ideal, the women don't. So I do a channel and we ask, we go to different churches and we ask people what their belief is on obedience. Sure. So I'd love to know, one, how long you've been a member here, and two, what your beliefs are around obedience.
Sure. So I've been attending this church for, I believe, 4 years now.
Okay.
And in terms of obedience, well, the Catechism of Trent actually touches on this expressly, and we believe that to be, it's the most authoritative catechism ever put out by the Roman Church, relied on for several hundred years at this point. And it actually touches in there on the duties of a wife and the duties of a husband. And in the duties of a wife section, it has, I believe the phrase goes, let them never forget to esteem their husband.
Yeah, so again, it's kind of cope, right? Because at the end of the day, the church has no authority to enforce. So a lot of the Christian guys, I think, because, maybe the original Bible, like they're going to come up with a few copes. The original Bible is not being taught in these churches because all of them are triggered by the word obey. I should not be kicked off of church property asking if women obey their husbands. In fact, the priest should come out and he should say yes. He should say it with his chest, and he should have no fear in him. However, what I get actually is asked to leave. So what are you going to do?
As second to God, and to yield to them in all things, not in offense against Christian piety or in line with Christian piety, something to that effect. So it's pretty straightforward. And
just so you would say, yes, they should obey?
Well, of course, yes.
And what do you guys do here if the priest and the husband disagree?
Well, I'm a little bit young to answer that question.
That's okay.
So, I mean,
well,
I don't
what do they
know.
How old are you? You're what,
like
20s, early 20s?
Yeah, that's accurate. 23.
23. Okay, so you've been around long enough, right? 4 years, that's a good amount of time.
I mean, yeah, but in terms of like observing priest, husband conflicts, I don't have any.
Okay, so you're not too sure?
No, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, because I guess one of the questions
I have faith in our priests, though.
Yeah, so. Well, one of the questions we come to is that no two men agree on everything. So definitely. Yeah, so when it comes to, if you want to walk this way slightly, just in case someone comes in, when it comes to like parenting style and there's different disagreements in a marriage. Mm-hmm. What happens if the priest agrees with the wife and not the husband? Who should she listen to according to you?
Well, it depends on the subject in question. So priests are...
Just get out of it. Priests are, yeah.
Well, first off, this isn't necessarily representative of my parish. It's just like off the dome when you're asking me. But if it's a matter...
Well, why? See, all these convoluted answers that they give, it depends. That means the woman. And you guys have to see through this bullshit. Okay? It means the woman.
Of moral theology, for example, where the priest's learning and his specifically spiritual authority in that way would come into play more, and the husband maybe doesn't know the thing or so on, then in that case, it would make sense for the priest to have.
But okay, but again, it's still circumventing male authority, because why wouldn't he just figure out the thing himself? People don't want you to think. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want to do the thinking for you so they can tell you what to do and they have more power.
Certain superiority. But in cases that pertain more particularly to the family, that, I mean, it could be compared really to the difference between the church's authority and state's authority. There's a big analogy there, in the sense of the church has supreme authority in spiritual matters, but the state has a supreme authority in temporal and matters that relate to the common welfare of the people. So in that way, the priest logically would have an ultimate authority in spiritual things. The husband represents Christ and thus is kind of a delegate in that way. And also in practical things relating to the common good of the household, the husband would have, the authority there. So
if women are not getting married young in churches, isn't that requiring morality for men but not women?
I don't necessarily see how the two fall.
Yeah, okay, because again, if the women are getting married young, they're getting time, attention, and resources from all the men. Even if, let's say for shits and giggles, she's not banging somebody. Even if she's not, she's still getting all the men's attention, time, resources in exchange for nothing. So at some point, the pastors are going to have to take a stand on this. Well, when it comes to abstinence, women aren't waiting till marriage to have sex generally. And if you go to a lot of churches, the men are.
Well,
so isn't it kind of requiring morality for one and not the other?
I mean, I don't know what churches you're familiar with, but abstinence is something that's universally priest-shared. It's binding on Catholics until marriage. I mean, it's just part of the virtue of chastity, really.
But if the women can do whatever they want and be forgiven, why can't the men?
So if you're talking from a secular standpoint or something like that, then maybe.
Well, even here, I just even hear the women, I interviewed a few and they said they weren't virgins. So like you're essentially, even here, I go to all different types. And it's just the typical Christian couple in a lot of places is the guy's a virgin and the woman isn't. So like when that's the case, wouldn't you say it's requiring morality for one and not the other?
Well, first, I would dispute this on two levels. So first, just empirically speaking, in terms of that's the average experience, there are a lot of situations. I know a lot of young people. I have a friend who goes to a Latin mass. Not this one, but again, so it's the cope in real time. Okay, at these churches, you're going to see a few families, right? And you're going to see the Chads and the Stacys get together. But look at the best looking men will have wives and kids, and the ugly ones will have nothing. Or a ran through whore, maybe. And even that. A Latin mass up in Minnesota, and he and his wife were both virgins till marriage.
See, that's selling hope, because there's the one person, like, that's why everyone says there's the one person I know, because it's one person you know. What about here? It has to be in Minnesota. You know what I mean?
And they were high school sweethearts, as just an example at the time I had.
Would you say that's the norm? He knows.
Yes, you wouldn't hesitate.
This is the thing. They want to be right. They want to be right very bad. He was a nice guy there. I got nothing against him.
I mean, the norm, well, most people aren't getting married straight out of high school. And that has correlations to premarital chastity, but
well, but that's the point. If you delay marriage, since women have more sexual access than young men do, you're requiring morality for one and not the other.
I still wouldn't say this requiring morality for one and not the other, though.
Well, do the churches preach against marrying the results? Again, that's cope, because the results are, and the Catholics, I'm so tired of these Catholics. Oh, Pearl, that Catholics are different. Okay.
Not necessarily. I mean, it is always exalted as the ideal.
Right, but the men have to follow the ideal, the women don't.
No, both of them do. And both of them have to deal with the consequences.
What are the consequences if the men get married after? Men marry them after.
But if a guy marries her after, is there really a consequence?
There certainly could be.
But in all honesty, not really.
Well, no, there certainly could be, insofar as
cope. Anyways, all right, guys. If you like me reacting to my own videos, let me know in the comments. Please like the video if you can and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.